What's your blood type? Alison and I are here in the studio for the Bloodline After Show. Following up season 3, episode 2 and 3, planting the scene here in the studio just like they are in the episodes. Catch up with us right here on the After Show.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
I feel like I need a pina colada, actually. Like, if you're
We should have got one of those before the show, Alison.
Man! Fail, Blake.
Negroni no-go.
Negroni no-go.
Pina colada. What's up, everyone? Hello. Welcome to the Bloodline After Show. We are here, Alison and I, holding it down, bringing you all of the Bloodline information you look for from week to week. We are so thrilled to be back for season 3. We are here tonight recapping episodes 2 and 3. As we mentioned last week, we're doing a little new thing this season. We're covering 2 episodes at a time per after show. So
Outside of the finale.
Outside of the finale, that's right. Intro and finale, or premiere and finale, were standalones because they deserve it. But
They do.
We mentioned this last week. It's very hard to keep up. We all binge this show and we love it and we want to get to it. So anyway, we're here tonight covering episodes 2 and 3. Please give us thumbs up, 5 stars, all the likes, everything, all those good positive reviews.
Good jujus.
That's right.
Yes.
And you can, of course, catch us on YouTube or hear the podcast on anywhere you listen to podcasts. I am Blake V. I'm in the lead host seat tonight, and it's feeling it's welcomed and new. It's been a while. You can follow me, of course, on all social media at Blake V Media, or check out the blog at blakv.com. And I am joined by this fabulous one over here.
I'm Alison Dean. You can find me at the Alison Dean on Twitter and Instagram. I thought you were going to say social meds again, and I was kind of hoping for that. But there's always next week. Or at the end of the show. Whatevs.
I do say that a lot.
Social meds. I was like,
oh no, I think it's the social meds.
the social meds. Even better.
Social meds.
Forgive me.
Forgive
me.
Now that we have that organized and you've apologized, let's jump into this. Okay,
Yes.
so episodes 2 and 3
Yes.
were, I had heart palpitations like the whole time.
I always
mean,
have heart palpitations.
And it's interesting because seasons 1 and 2, I feel like, they took their time. They took a little bit of time kind of getting going. We kind of were,
Now things are going.
Things are going.
Mm-hmm.
No time waiting around. I mean, we just jumped right into it last week. We jumped right into it these 2 episodes.
Yes.
Let's kind of start timeline-wise with episode 2.
Okay.
Our lovely Pina Colada song was
Gosh,
an homage
I do love it.
to Kevin's scene. So they're getting really creative with their intro.
I agree.
Montages, right? So we open episode 2 with Kevin. He's in this beautiful restaurant. It's he's across from Belle, and he's getting really honest, and he's really.
Was that a restaurant, or do we think that was just Sally, the hotel?
Oh.
I don't know, whatever, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, there was
Either
somewhere
way.
there was somewhere festive, and it was a
Yeah.
big fam dinner.
And he was like suddenly getting very honest and like, oh, I've never been more happy. I've never felt so.
Oh, that
Connected.
one. I'm sorry. I was thinking of the dinner. I'm sorry. Yeah.
That was episode 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
Whoa.
So that's okay. It's okay. That's probably gonna happen from moment to moment, recapping 2 episodes.
How dare
But nonetheless, so they're in a restaurant. It's like, very foreboding because the lightning is striking and it's a little spooky. He has this sort of moment where the police come in. He puts his hands up. He's going to get arrested. We all think this is real.
Yes.
It is not real.
It is not real.
He's once again with the bloodline flashbacks. He's sort of having not even really a flashback, but sort of like a
A
hallucination.
dream state like
Nightmare,
event. Nightmare. Dreams and nightmares collide. Yeah, I think that's what it was.
No, truly. And so we snap back to him sort of getting, accosted in the moment by Gilbert. Again. So he's sort of like, you can imagine him in this moment where he's really probably like, I don't know what to do. He's sort of drifting off into this like, this could be the consequences if not. And then he agrees with Gilbert. He says, yes, help me.
I mean, I think we both saw that was, especially since John was not answering his phone.
Yeah.
He didn't really have that many options. This is not the sort of thing that he can figure out on his own. So
No.
I kind of thought that it was going to be the Roy Gilbert for the win.
For sure. I think that might even been some of our predictions last week. And as we said last week too, Kevin is not capable of making these decisions on his own.
Definitely
so if
not.
John was really, if it was really so important for him. I mean, I get needing a vacay. Let's be real. But at the same time, this is like your lives on the line, you know, and you gotta when you know you have an unstable brother,
right?
Let's rein it in. Yep. Let's answer these phone calls, okay?
Oh, I actually thought that was actually I did not see it coming in the way that finally that call was answered.
Right. So so let's talk about that. So we come to Kevin. I guess Gilbert, involves the guy, right? The guy,
because we don't know his name at that point. He just shows up and he's the guy. He's the guy that knows more than any other guy would at this point.
Yes. So it is advised to meet back at Marco's. They're here deliberating, organizing the plan.
Well, and Roy was very specific when he told Kevin, "You must tell this guy everything, leave no stone unturned," kind of a thing, just because he can only help you if he knows
as much as you help yourself, Kevin.
Right. So
which makes sense. I mean, he's got to know the ins and the outs of the scenario,
right?
Because God, imagine the stress of that guy's job. You come to fix all the murders and framing and planting and DNA and how do you even get?
I think it depends on what your day job is. Well, in the sense of, we do come to learn what his day job is, but in the sense of, I think you're
right. So as the coroner, this
turns out he was the coroner.
Comes a lot easier to you. So he's helping Kevin sort out this story. It's a little crazy. Kevin's a little jittery, and then a lot jittery.
He is a lot jittery.
So they determine the murder weapon, which of course was the dolphin statue that we see him bludgeon Marco with.
Oy.
And he takes it and hides it, and then the guy says, no.
Need it
Immediately. How long can you get it? Okay, go get it, bring it back. He goes, loses his mind while he's out. Loses his mind.
Yet again. He's lost his mind. How many times is it that he's lost his mind now?
Like every episode.
Yep,
maybe,
pretty much.
Maybe multiple times every episode. I really thought he was going to drive himself off the road.
I thought that might be. Well, I was kind of also like, are they going to let anybody go this soon? I was kind of like,
I was convinced. I really thought.
Bye. Oh.
I mean, it was just like madness in the car. He was just melting down. I really saw like a careening off the road. Maybe he survived it, but I don't know. That's what I saw.
A la Meg in episode 1.
Right? Yes. So anyway, so Kevin surprises us all, turns over, makes a left instead of a right off the road, and gets out, has a moment, but instead calls John. Again. Calls. And we cut to John on his little adventure, if we will, his joyride. And he's sitting next to a young girl who, well, young-ish, whatever, girl. And it's like sort of a strange scenario, I thought.
I actually was really wondering what is about to go down. Just because they were definitely giving us this impression of
like a flirty, sensual kind of,
or at least on her end, she was definitely giving that to us.
Yes.
And I was like, is John gonna?
And even John was kind of giving like the
a little bit, like definitely looking and what are you doing? And I'm intrigued by you, possibly, or some. Yeah, totally, I'm with you
for sure. So she ruined it by answering his phone.
Oh,
totally ruined it.
Ripped it out of his hand.
And that really set off the whole snowball effect, because would he have on his own? No, he was clearly very much ignore.
Right.
And so she put this all into motion by answering the phone.
Literally.
Kevin starts screaming on the other end. John gets in touch, and there we have it. Essentially, John says, "Do nothing, brother.
Do nothing.
Do nothing. Stay where you are. I will find you and fix this for you."
And all I'm thinking is, how long is it going to take John to get back? He is now in Charlotte, North Carolina.
He has been traveling for 2 episodes.
Right. And
so he's a distance away.
Yeah. So when I saw him arrive, it's at Charlotte. So I'm thinking, okay, Charlotte, North Carolina. So yes, he was north of the Keys, but I'm thinking the distance between Charlotte, which is sort of inland-ish, and then you have to go south quite a ways to get back to the Keys. I was like, helicopter? What are we doing here, John?
And he's hitching rides and junk back to, anyway. Presumably, Kevin got sick of waiting and was like, let's get the ball rolling. Let's handle this.
Right.
Goes back to Marco's. Craziness ensues.
Yes.
And his
Well, okay, so I will say this. So what they sort of deduce, or what Mr. Coroner guy figures out, because he starts looking at Marco's phone and he sees all these missed calls from Eric O'Bannon.
Yes.
Asks Kevin, who is this Eric O'Bannon guy? And suddenly this new story is planted of, oh, great, we can pin this on Eric O'Bannon, which... I didn't think that was the way that they were going to do it. I thought, they might find some Eric O'Bannon fingerprints going on. I didn't think it was going to be a full-fledged
framing.
There you go.
I would like to add one more moment of the conversation between John and the girl on the bus.
Oh, please.
I felt like it was very fitting. He was like, no, I'm not answering this. It's my brother. John was, when the phone was ringing. And the girl said, oh, I know what you're talking about. I have a younger brother who just F's everything up. And then John says, brothers effing everything up. So it was like, yes, truly. For
But
John
it's also,
in his life.
is it also kind of like, because he was the younger brother of a brother at one point in his life, and he was also, he's effed some things up as well. So it's just this extension of being a younger brother.
An
You naturally
extension
just
of effing up.
Yeah.
It is.
He
I
was
thought that
never he was never just the older brother. He was the older brother and the younger brother.
And the substitute father. And he was everything, John
a
Rayburn.
whole bunch of stuff.
Okay, so they commit to the framing of Eric O'Bannon.
And in doing so, they had to sort of concoct, okay, well, how is this going to play out? What's going to happen? Okay, I'm going to call you at some point from Marco's phone, and you're going to answer because we need to see a timeline of him calling you. So we're concocting the story that happens. And then you're going to get here, you're going to hear that Eric and Marco are having an argument that leads to the death, that then leads to you being shot. And...
Okay, so I have many questions, but my first question is...
Yeah.
Wouldn't forensics show that Marco's head was bashed in like
hours ago?
Many hours prior.
Okay, that's what I also
The
was
blood
thinking.
is like dryish at this point.
Yes. It's like all out of the body at this point.
Yeah.
Right. I was
Soaked
thinking
into
that.
the carpet, whatever.
Right.
And then here comes Kevin with a fresh, brand new,
Wound.
sudden gunshot wound.
Right.
So Eric would have like killed Marco and just like hung out.
Maybe. Because maybe, okay, I guess they could pretend like, was Eric in shock? Or was he... I don't know.
Yeah,
it's one of
it's
those
interesting.
things, maybe. But
Maybe
then
we'll
again, the
know.
whole like urine thing, because then we realized that Kevin peed
Like
somehow.
many hours prior.
Many hours prior. But
But again, maybe they couldn't figure out the urine. But the blood is like a giveaway to me. I'm a little shifty on the blood.
But then again, the coroner was the guy coming to do a lot of the stuff. So, hey, he can just sort of like not check certain boxes, I guess.
That must be really the key to the whole
Right?
thing. Because it's like, plan what you
is
can.
the
but
coroner.
He is the coroner.
He
Indeed.
can like put the little notes on the paper and suddenly it's the gospel.
Indeed. So, Mr. Coroner, the guy, decides that Kevin needs to get shot for this to be believable. Alison, I'd like to hear from you on this. I think that the shooting was very, well, it certainly wasn't delivered properly. So, so how do you feel in terms of the reasoning behind coroner's, want to shoot, and then his action of it, like really going kind of against Kevin's immediate wishes?
Okay, well, I do think that given sort of what will occur as we venture into episode 3, I think that if he had just gotten like surface, like flesh woundy type things, I think then he would have been much more under the magnifying lens in this more significant way. So I think that because he had a very significant gunshot wound into his, I think the abdomen one was the one that was the big one. I think that sort of cleared away some of this. Well,
did he set it up or didn't he?
there you
sort
go.
of
A little bit.
suspicion.
So part of me thinks whether or not it was the coroner's intention to do that, maybe not. Because he was like, oh, you moved. But then again, maybe like he really did want that. Maybe he did want what he did. We don't know yet. Yeah. But at the same time, I think if it wasn't that serious, things would be going a different way at this point. I mean, they still might go a different way, but at least at this point, it seems as though it's more like compassion, like save him, baby on the way, and I don't think that would have been the case. if it was like leg only.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. And then I thought, well, we all thought, I mean, he was like dying on the floor. It's like twice I thought he almost died in the episode. He's like dying on the floor, bleeding out, and the guy's like, stay with me, call 911.
Here, I'll call for you.
For you. You know, and then I'm just thinking like, okay, well, wow, they're like really trying to make us feel like Kevin's getting killed off. I felt. So,
that's
you know,
interesting.
assuming, you know, I guess maybe imagining that the gunshot was fatal and he did kill Kevin.
Yep.
I wonder what or if any sort of like backlash would have happened, because presumably Eric O'Bannon just killed Kevin, right? That would have been easy enough to write off and do on his little coroner's papers.
Yep.
But would then, I mean, everybody would have known, right? Like Sally would have known that Gilbert killed Kevin via the guy. So I wonder if there would have been any craziness. Anyway,
Whole other show happening.
it is a whole other show, and we also have like some really good tidbits on that in episode 3, which we'll get to in a moment, because Sally and Gilbert have a whole thing, and it's very interesting.
All I was thinking is, and it seems like the YouTube comments were along these wavelengths as well, but the hashtag Save Eric O'Bannon seems to be trending in a way that we didn't expect. I mean, Jamie McShane, are you watching this right now?
Please.
Like, we all just love you.
Hearts
like,
to Jamie McShane.
He's not on social media, but you know, one can hope. Email him later.
He could go on the computer.
But no, people are, you know, I really wonder, how is he going to get out of this?
It is looking so bad for Eric O'Bannon.
So not good.
Just to wrap up episode 2, just quickly touching on Eric, I mean, he gets wind of this whole thing. I mean, the second he walked into Marco's house, he knew, the shiz is hitting the fan. Like, this isn't great. So he immediately like tries to run, you know, he's trying to call Ozzy, trying to say, I've got some information for you. Like, I don't even know if that's a great move, but whatever. He's calling Ozzy. He's trying to escape. He goes to the mother's house. He leaves her, sans oxygen. Poor mama.
I mean, on the one hand, I think this was like them trying to make us feel like, Eric, you're an asshole. But I mean, at the other hand, I'm like, no.
He's trying to just escape with his life. He's innocent.
Right.
I'm with you.
Okay. Also, well, now that we're talking about Ozzy, what chick's house was he at?
I have no idea.
Did they swap out? What's her name?
The blonde.
Right. Is that her? No, I hope not. They wouldn't do that, right?
No, it can't be. But
they gave us no. I mean, we have nothing, and yet there's all these like insinuations, like, oh, my mom and Danny, and I'm like, who are you?
That must be episode 4 and 5.
Okay, let's hope so.
You know how Bloodline likes to do us. They like to set us up and explain it later.
I was very confused.
Yeah, I didn't know either. And also, she had like a very lovely apartment. And
lovely.
It was very
like,
the
not
whole thing
not
was
musician, artist, trying to get money from other people.
Very much not Ozzy. Like, he was just this wrecked, bloody psycho on the couch.
Maybe it was a cousin. Or a long-lost relative.
Whoever she was, I hope we find out soon. But but Eric definitely, like, he's trying to get his things, get on the run, get out of there.
Bye, Chelsea. Yeah.
Bye, Chelsea. Just give me your money. Peace out. He goes. They're trying to figure out where he is. I think it was Chelsea said, oh no, he wouldn't go down to Marathon or something, which must be like a beach or an area. He'd go north. But lo and behold,
Meg knows everything.
Yes. Lo and behold.
Meg knows the secret hideouts of Danny and Eric.
Yes.
And she revealed it to John.
Yes, and like, bullseye. He was right there. John comes to sort of like...
So now we're in episode 3.
Oh, is that episode 3? Mm-hmm. Okay, it's all a blur. That's okay.
I know.
And we're in. Oh, but okay, I'm sorry. I know we were wrapping up episode 2, but I just have to say one other thing about episode 2. How
Sally too.
How interesting was Meg having too much blood alcohol level to give blood to Kevin? Isn't that funny? Meg, you have to go to the hospital to give blood.
Nope.
Covers over face.
So, and then we just see John and like giving the blood.
Giving the blood.
So I thought it was interesting though, because Sally, it was very clear that Sally said Meg has his blood type, but didn't say Meg and John have his blood type.
Right.
I don't know. I just thought that was like.
Well, are we, I mean, John maybe wasn't giving blood directly to Kevin. He could have just been donating blood out of good conscience. It wasn't confirmed.
No, that's true. It was not. He was just sort of doing it.
It was not confirmed.
Sally calls Roy, says my son better be okay in a very threatening voicemail, and also tells John via the phone that she knows everything. Right? Was that via phone or was that in person?
It was in person.
Okay, tells him in person.
It was in person.
And then suddenly that was all deflected, though, because of everything now that was going on with Kevin. So sort of the drama behind Sally knowing about John killing Danny sort of went by the wayside, because now we have Kevin in hospital, dying, or what have you. And Sally also knows that her other son has now also killed someone.
Oof.
It's
a mess to be Sally right now, truly. Okay, so episode 3.
Another flashback.
Let's slide on in. Yes, another flashback.
It's a theme.
Now that's the dinner party
That's
you
what
were
I was
talking
thinking.
about on the Rayburn property.
Yes.
From like episode 1, season 1, episode 1. Wasn't
Wait,
it like
did that
season...
actually happen?
Yeah, because...
Good for you, girl.
Because it was an extension. Remember, it was during season 1 where they were having like some sort of event or naming ceremony or something, and the dad was still alive, and it was like the first party... I think the dad was still alive. Anyway,
Probably, yeah.
They were having a party on the property there, and like Marco was there, and Meg and Marco were together.
So long
This
ago.
was like an extension of that event.
Oh.
I thought. And these were like some behind the scenes moments we didn't see back in that episode.
Thank you. I'm like, yeah, because
thought.
I literally... No, I think...
Tell me if I'm wrong, anybody.
I think you're probably spot on.
Yes, and
but I
so-
totally did not recall. I mean, I can't say it didn't look familiar, but I can say that I was like...
It looked gorgeous, and I was
It
like,
looked lovely.
Can I book my room at the Rayburn Inn and
Well, not if it's getting
hang out in
flooded.
the Keys? Well, that's only sometimes,
you're like,
Allison.
whatever.
That's only sometimes.
I'll bring a floaty.
Just, put the flooded room on Groupon, and I'll buy it.
There you go.
Buy it at discount.
And bring a flotation device.
Get a
It's
deal
fine.
out of it.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Okay, so Meg awakens from her drunken stupor
Yeah.
to the reality of, oh,
Marco's-
dang,
My man is, well,
gone.
the man that I cheated on is gone.
But she loved him at some point, I'm sure.
No. She
And-
for sure loved him, but I think, it's one of those unfortunate realities, I think for her especially, because she now seems to very much be the woman that, oh wow, now you're dead. Oh gosh, I don't even know. Wow, I loved you so much more than I thought I
Yeah, like,
did.
what have I done?
There you go.
Now that it's too late. Totally. So it's like, it's hitting her. It's just hitting her, and
Right.
she's, she comes into the kitchen. Sally is putting on her fabulous forget about it face,
Oy.
just moving right past it and talking about ceviche and just everything else in the world. And Meg has completely had it. And she has a extreme reaction. She's yelling at Sally. She's like, you have got to stop this. Like, you need to realize what's happening. Don't just gloss over it. This is very serious. And Sally straight up calls her out.
Yep.
Sally straight up calls her out and was basically like, just calling to her face what she did.
Well, she revealed, because at this point, Meg did not know that Kevin was the one that killed Marco.
Yeah.
So Sally very clearly says...
That's right. That's what she relayed to Meg. And I think she just like blew Meg's mind.
I think she did too, because at that point, Meg sort of...
Just like disassociated.
Yep.
It's just like, what?
So kind of similarly in the sense of, in episode 1, how Sally reacted when Meg told her that John killed Danny. It was almost this reversal. in a way of sort of the non-attachment to this, to the idea of this.
Yeah.
Meg sort of had that same reaction, like,
Oh, totally.
okay.
Well,
In some way, it was like
right.
weird. I don't know.
Right, which seems to be the Rayburn way.
It's the Rayburn way.
Yeah, like just initially sort of stunned and not really knowing what to do with it.
Right. But certainly, she goes gung ho with the fam, with Marco's fam.
She does. And let's just kind of, I guess let's bring Meg through the episode since we're talking about her, because yes, she really dives in with the fam. I mean,
Really.
her and Sally go pay their respects. It's like the Marco wake essentially, and
also how she and Marco met, which I thought was very adorbs. I did. I think it was very adorbs.
it
The
was
whole
really-
thing.
That was a really touching
It was.
flashback.
I agree.
Peek into their relationship.
They did have very lovely chemistry, I will say.
They did.
Yeah.
They really did.
Even though I liked that lawyer for like a second, but at the end of the day, I didn't get this little nugget of how they met in
Yeah.
season 1.
It's changed everything, people. Yeah, it was really adorable. And you see, I mean, how close she was to the family, because even
They both were. I mean, it was like this, you know.
it was like a total enmeshment.
Yes. Yes. I like it. I don't know.
Enmeshment. Sounds great, so we're going with it. Anyway, however, we come to find out that Marco's older brother, Raul, doesn't care for Meg. Really doesn't care for Meg. I mean, she sort of talks, she mentions before we meet Raul that their relationship is not great. But then when we get to Raul, he's like, oh, you broke his heart, you know, whatever. But it seems as though he never liked her. She was never good enough for Marco, and he thought that the whole time they were together. So it's like, this is a very deep-seated dislike, it seems.
And she actually, I think there was some sort of a pivot for their relationship in this episode, because she spoke her truth to him and said, you know, I agree, I was never good enough for your brother, kind of a thing. And then suddenly when they go to the morgue together, she was welcomed in with Raul.
Yeah.
So whatever. It's almost like they're revealing relationship things to us in this third season, and also like wrapping them up in the same episode, right? So they're definitely, they're giving us a lot of nuggets of information and like trying to like put a bow around them in certain ways. So I wonder if we're going to see more of Raul, or if now this is sort of like, okay, there was family conflict with one of them. Right.
Yeah, it's interesting because this whole death of Marco has really affected Meg. I mean, we're seeing her just kind of like, you know, the upset is just building and building and building through the episode.
Yeah.
So they go and see Marco at the morgue, and they pull the blanket back, and she sees exactly how he died, and it was so violent,
What
and brutal,
Kevin did to him.
and what Kevin did to him, like most importantly.
Yep.
And it hits her super hard. She goes to the hospital to visit Kevin, and he thinks she's there to see him. And no, she's very upset. She can't even look at him. And she's just like,
You're not my brother anymore.
You're not my brother anymore, and we're done. I saw what you did to Marco. I can't even take it.
It's so
And we're
interesting
done.
because, like, you know, in the sense of the reactions that they had about Danny, right? It wasn't that. I mean,
No.
it was not that, and that's the brother.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But to be fair, like, I mean, their family is very screwy.
That's true.
All families are very screwy.
True.
You have your, you know, likes, your dislikes, your whatevers, your close relationships with some family members, not so close with others. I mean,
You know, okay, here's the thing, though. I do think it's going to come full circle. I think that she said that. I don't think it's going to be how she behaves with Kevin forever, because at the same time, I mean, he was very clear. He said it to John. I don't think he said it to Meg yet, about the fact that, look, Marco wanted to send all of us to prison. And so that was a significant deal.
I think he mentioned to Meg he knew everything.
That's not enough, though.
Yeah.
Because then someone might know everything and not want to send you into the slammer forever, right?
True.
They might just like pocket the info and let it slide.
True.
Or what
and
else.
Meg was so upset that she just like didn't even stick
didn't
around to hear
right,
it.
Right.
And then rips the things out of his arm, his IV. She's like, enough morphine for you, Kevin.
Well,
You don't deserve to be pain-free.
interestingly about the morphine, I mean, Roy Gilbert was very clear with Kevin to not be on the morphine just because of his addictive nature, and also so Kevin would be one to really cloud facts pretty quickly. So kind of keeping a clear mind as much as possible about what happened, because they've concocted now a pretty, I mean, it's a twisted story that if one thing is
out of
not
place.
right?
Well, and just being on drugs like that in
Ugh,
general,
right.
I mean, no person's brain is right. I mean, you're liable to say whatever it is.
That's
I mean,
true.
And they even said specifically, oh, when Kevin was coming out of anesthesia from the surgery, he ID'd the shooter. Well, didn't John or somebody told him, don't say anything?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Right. Yes.
So,
Well, and
yeah, so it's like, Kevin is really in a tricky position for someone who can't really make solid thoughts on his own.
Ever.
He's got the guy who's planted this story in him over here, and now he's too deep because he's already ID'd the shooter as Eric O'Bannon.
Roy knows the story now.
Roy knows the story. The guy knows the story. And then you have John over here trying to
figure out the story.
And plant like
reverse engineer the story.
reverse engineer the story.
Yeah.
Plant a neutral story with Kevin, but he's on drugs. He's in and out of anesthesia, in and out of morphine. Like I could see this being a huge hot mess.
Well, and it seems as though Franco is diving into some of this. Like there are things that are not adding up to him, and I think in the way that
he's
Marco
just hitting it hard.
In the way that Marco sort of figured out the John and Danny thing, or at least was hip to something not being kosher, I think Franco he's weary. You know, he's not. So John is giving him certain information. Kevin is giving him certain information where you think if you were just anybody, you go, oh yeah, that makes sense, and just kind of take it for what it is. Especially when John is who he is in that city.
Well,
but no, not now. I think.
Yeah, and it's interesting to me how leery he is. You know, it's
right.
it's like. Just like Marco too. I mean, Marco had this close relationship with the family, and yes, he and Meg had broken up, so that was like sort of a little motive for him to just be a little, you know, more upset or negative or more observant per se. But this guy, Franco, it's like, you know, why? I wonder. I mean, I know that he was running against John for sheriff in last season, I think.
Yep.
So maybe a little bit stems from that. Maybe it is a little bit competitive, but I just kept thinking too, like, well, like why? Why are you trying to bring
I think
him
it's the
down
logic
so hard?
because it does. I mean, what he said to John doesn't make sense that a witness would murder the person trying to protect them.
Yeah,
help them, whatever,
Yeah.
right? Or protect, because he was going to give protection.
Yeah.
And John says no, and it's the obvious answer. No, it doesn't make sense that someone would murder. So that the story doesn't yet add up in that way.
Right.
Or whatever John was feeding him. It's like, oh, well, maybe it was this or maybe it was that. You know, whatever the alternative facts were to present to make it seem like, oh, well, that could make sense.
Okay.
Still, Franco's like, could that, you know, right.
Totally. Ugh. And he has us all in suspense, Franco, because how about the moment when, okay, so he brings John into his office. They have the exchange of information. John, does this really make sense? No, it doesn't. Then at the end there, he's like, and Eric O'Bannon had a wild story about you.
Right.
Planting the gun, planting the stuff. And you're like, ah, geez.
And that's a crazy story, isn't it?
He did, but that's a crazy story. Yeah. What were your feelings in that moment? Because I was totally like, my stomach was in knots. I was like, ugh.
He had some interesting interactions with Kevin and with John. I thought, well, just like, you know, when he went to visit Kevin in the hospital to just sort of do some fact checking, and then goes, yeah, did you see what happened with that sculpture? And he was like, eh. It just, you know, he's trying to prod at this whole thing, and it's just sort of like what's going to trickle out. What one thing is going to trickle out that doesn't fit the story or something. I don't know.
You know, and it's funny too, because one thing that I think would be a plausible excuse in this whole scenario, in John's defense, is really, you think about it, like, okay, his brother died, was killed brutally. Danny was killed brutally. Which, regardless of any, you know, whatever, assumption of his involvement or whatever, you would still look at it and be like, ooh, your brother was murdered very brutally. Like, that must be painful and sensitive, right? So then we come to another scenario where Kevin is very seriously injured, nearly died.
And his partner is brutally murdered.
Like, a lot of death around him on people very close to him. And yet everyone is sort of coming after him. Franco's coming after him like he's sort of in his straight mind. And I feel like that would be very easy to just like have a breakdown or not be able to.
John have a breakdown.
Well,
I mean, he sort of has, but now I think he's back into that mode, and the mode that he's very used to, of suddenly being, I need to become the fixer. I need to become the cement of the family, because really it seems like all of them can't function without John.
Him.
Like, Sally turns to John, Meg turns to John, Kevin certainly turns to John. And so it's almost like he can't do wrong in that way because he constantly is being pulled back. And that, I think, is his comfort zone. He's comfortable in that role. And also when it's like, okay, let's deflect any negativity around things that I've done that are not so good.
Right.
And let's just pay attention to all this other stuff and how I can help there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you know, it's his safe place on some level.
Okay. Speaking of just sort of like the safe place and organizing this whole concoction that they've come up with.
Yep.
I mean, we saw last season where Kevin and Meg really took the initiative to say, look, John, we're not working with you anymore. We are protecting ourselves. We are making ourselves safe and separate from you because this is just a hot mess and we can't deal with it anymore, right? That put us in the scenario of all this going down because it was just like, you know, them trying to figure out everything outside of John.
And that's true.
And that is totally true. And so then we have our little moment between John and Meg in episode 3 where John straight up tells Meg, for the first time since any of this went down, I knew what you were trying to do. I knew you were trying to usurp my efforts and do this by yourself. You and Kevin were trying to separate.
Which you're not capable of doing. Don't you know? Don't you know? You're not capable of doing this. Right.
Right? So he's sort of like, I know what you did, and
I know what you did last summer.
I know what you did last summer.
Remember that?
Yeah. Oh, do I?
What a gem.
Oh, do I?
What a gem that was.
Yeah, but like, it was weird. I almost got like, not only call out vibes because that's what happened, but also like a little bit thready, like threat vibes.
Well, it's sort of like keeping her in the palm of his hand in some way, right? So just sort of, I think giving that that older brother stance of like, look, you need me. You need me whether you want to believe that you need me or not. You need me. And just sort of like leave her with that feeling of, ah, shit.
Right. Like, I really can't do this by myself.
There you go. Yeah. Well, and clearly if Kevin's her partner, she cannot do it by
She was on the losing team from the start. Let's be real.
I mean, like her and Kevin, and she's a smart cookie, but at the same time, it's almost like she just set up to fail on so many different occasions.
Yeah.
You can't get out from under it.
Well, it's just like a never-ending.
What's the terminology from a surfer? You get caught in the riptide.
The undertow.
What is it? The undertow? The riptide? What is it? I don't know. I'm not a surfer. Don't want to be. No aspiration, but you know.
Riptide works. Current works.
Yeah, caught in that.
I believe it's called undertow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Blake is the surfer, and so are you. Okay, but that's what I meant. You know, she's in this constant undertow.
In that undertow, yes.
She's in it to win it.
She really is, and she literally, and that's what I felt. I felt like John was coming to her to say, and you can't never.
Purgatory. It's her purgatory.
You can never escape.
Yeah, I think you're not wrong about that.
Yeah. So, sort of just to wrap up Meg too in this episode. I mean, we saw her come full circle with the whole Marco realization and everything, and she goes and takes out that little boat at the end, and
the sunfish,
and she just has her little like introspective moment. She has her little picture that she found. Wasn't it from the Diaz's refrigerator? She snatched it off the thing. Theft. She's a thief. Well, she's done worse, Alison.
That's true. That's true.
So she has her moment. She, drops the ceremonial photo in the ocean.
I thought she was gonna get caught in the undertow,
as she is in her life, right?
I did think I was like, what are they doing right now? Because I thought it was a little, I didn't know if it was like a play on the younger sister being on the boat from season 1 and everything that happened. I don't know if they were like trying to give us this.
And they set it up that way in the beginning too, because they were saying like, they were making a big deal about how in that flashback scene, oh, Meg doesn't like boats. The whole family was going to go on the boat and they invited Marco and they're like, oh no, but Meg doesn't like boats. Well, that's interesting because the only reference we have is to the little sister / Danny event.
Right.
From youth.
And maybe that's why she didn't like boats, but maybe she feels so cleansed of all this other death that now it's like, I need to be on a boat. I don't know. Okay,
Get
so
me on a boat.
We still need to chat about, I want to say, I thought the John Chelsea interaction was very interesting. Do you have that?
Let's go in there.
Okay, so John, of course, goes to see Chelsea because he wants to know where Eric O'Bannon is. Because at this point now, John has the firearm. He's met with the coroner guy because he's now manipulated Roy Gilbert into saying, "Look, I need to know what's going on." So they have a meet. The coroner guy, which John was so pissed. It was actually kind of funny. Just the whole, because he realizes that who the coroner was since they had the exchange at the murder scene of like, "Hope your brother's okay." But he gets the gun. He gets the gun that's the alleged weapon that Eric O'Bannon shot Kevin with, yada, yada. So goes to Chelsea to see, okay, where is he? And I just thought it was really interesting because Chelsea goes, "What the F is wrong with our families?" And just sort of like this notion of it. And I was like, Chelsea.
See, because of the enmeshment.
The enmeshment. I think you should, you know,
It's a lot of
I like
enmeshment going
I like
on.
it, the enmeshment.
Yeah.
And the John subsequently, after talking to Meg, as we said, finds the hideaway and wow, just plants Eric with everything.
Yeah, so, okay, let's talk about that for a quick minute because we didn't spend a lot of time on it a moment ago when we brought it up, but okay.
Here, I think you need this as protection.
And that's the thing is, like, obviously Eric is suspicious of John at this point. I
Yeah,
mean,
he just threatened the like two nights ago. One night ago? Yeah.
Totally. So, I mean, you saw how, like, scared he was when John accosted him and he was just like, "Oh, geez, get away. This isn't good." So it's like, any of these things that John gave to him, why would he even keep on him in a way that would be
Okay, here's what I thought.
catchable?
Might go down. I thought that John was hoping that Eric might kill himself with the gun. So, like, you know, I did all this stuff. I'm fearing for whatever. I don't know. So I think that was part of what was going on in my mind.
I just feel like at this point, Eric kind of has the story sorted out. He
Oh,
kind of
he
sees
does.
it for what it is.
Yes.
He knows he's getting framed. He knows it's what it is. So for John to come give all this stuff to him, why wouldn't he just be like, "All right, cool, man, thanks," in the river, and then on his way?
Where's Jamie McShane when you need him?
I know. Oh, we need some clarification. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we'll get some more information in the next 2 episodes. But that was just the weirdest thing for me. I'm like, Eric is a smart guy in terms of these scheming plots that he does. And he's got this scenario figured it out. Nobody has the upper hand on him at this point. So for John to just come and so easily manipulate, I don't know.
I
thought that
was really
strange.
hoping that John was going to rise above and figure out a way where perhaps still, if the blame must be placed on Eric to make this whole story work, well, then at least get Eric out of town. Do something. Be a good guy and get him out of there.
Yeah, like truly help him. But no, it was all about planting and
wow. Yes.
and securing that.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. I swear, I still hashtag save Eric O'Bannon.
Save Eric O'Bannon. I know, he's like such a staple now. It's like we don't want him to go.
He's looking terrible.
I mean, well,
looking
yeah,
bad.
it's not good. It's not good, that's for sure.
Franco somehow finds him, and they charge Eric O'Bannon with
I don't get that part. I just don't get it.
how they found him.
How they found him and why he kept all that stuff on him.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like a nostalgia thing. So like all of Danny's stuff that was in that bag, I don't know if there was that, because obviously Danny was his best friend. So any level of connectiveness to Danny, I think he still grasps to that because Danny was such an important part of his life. But no, I agree with I agree with that. Yeah, and then we need to talk about Sally.
Kick us off.
Just kind of interesting. So goes to see Roy, stay away from my family, all that stuff. That I thought was actually
after the phone call,
I thought it was real corny, that scene. I don't know. It just felt really overly staged, or it felt like it was injected into the storyline, but it wasn't meant to be there initially, or something. Something was just not like of the bloodline element, in my opinion. I thought it was corny. And then tells Belle Roy isn't who she thinks he is. There's all these like undertones about Sally and Roy. And then
Which
Sally
she keeps saying. Like Sally keeps
reiterating that he is a bad man.
But we don't know why. She's not giving us details into it yet.
And she wants to confess something at the end of this episode, which, hello. But, okay, I think that my prediction has to do with Sally, so tell me what else
Okay.
is on your list.
Maybe okay. Just the last thing that I want clarification on, because it's many things. Is this mysterious woman that Ozzy is now hanging out with and
on my
staying
list,
with?
though, in caps.
Yeah.
Who is the woman
Yeah.
he is with in Miami? That's
Totally.
literally caps.
I mean, we don't know, and I think really the most like poignant moment of that whole interaction is number one, he's like not even really treating her very nice.
No.
So I'm kind of like, what is this relationship? It's very strange.
Yep.
And then the second thing is he goes to leave her house, and they have this whole exchange about the mother information. So she says, you know, all of this craziness didn't start with the kids.
Yeah. So that made me go, wait, who are you? Wait, is it the daughter? Is it the dead daughter?
No.
Okay. That would be even creepier, right?
Well, how would the dead daughter have an apartment?
Well, no, like maybe she's not like
She lived it. And
I don't know,
escaped with
like, was-
Ozzy. Oh, this is great, Alison. This is great. Bloodline.
No, okay, that didn't
You
happen.
have a run for your money with this storyline.
Let's push that one aside.
But I like where you're going.
Okay,
with
but
that.
who?
I like where it's going. I have no idea. But the thing is that whatever it is, it came from her mother. It wasn't her directly. It came from her mother. Because she said, I know this information from my mother.
Right.
Ozzy said, who told you this? My mother. So whoever it was, the mother was a contact to the Rayburn parents, Sally and...
Yeah.
I forgot Papa Rayburn's name.
I like Papa Rayburn.
It'll come back to me. Anyway, so she was a contact to them. So who knows? Could the mother have been a family member? Maybe a sister? Maybe a friend?
Was there
maybe...
affairs that happened? Maybe.
Well, we know that Papa Rayburn is no stranger to paying off ladies on the side.
Right. Exactly.
So-
That could. Yeah. It could be that.
That could very well be. Okay, well, I think we hit all of the major points of episode 2 and 3. Oh no, wait, one more exciting point.
Oh, Ozzy stealing the car.
Oh, that too. I guess it's 2 more points.
Wait, what's yours?
But I did like that. That was a fun touch.
I was like, why are you stealing a car? What? I don't know. Whatever.
Okay, a lot of
I mean, on the one hand, it seemed like those people deserved it because they really were just like, here,
It's like,
guy.
here's stranger.
Yeah, no ticket
Like,
for you.
no- yeah.
Right.
No proof, no nothing.
Here's
It's fine.
my very expensive automobile, but you can just take the keys.
To live that life, Alison. To live that life.
It's just a car.
I think that especially episode 3 had a lot of setup for Ozzy. A lot of setup. I mean, we still are very much in the dark of a lot of the stuff he's doing.
Yes.
So,
And who? Oh, well, we know now that it was the Roy Gilbert's guys that were hired to
Yes.
off him.
yes, to abduct him and off
And
him.
right.
Yes. Yeah, so I mean this whole Roy Gilbert story is definitely going to unfold.
Yes.
I think that the next 2 episodes have a lot more in store in terms of Gilbert and Ozzy.
And Sally.
Oh, and Sally and her confession.
Yeah.
Oh, cliffhanger.
Well, only for us. Right. Everyone else is like, no, we're already at episode 10.
Yes, we're
Right.
taking it slow. Not really like a conversation point, but something I did want to mention is in episode 3, our good friend Randy G
Randy G back
showed up as
Manny and the star and the
hooking
sunfish.
up the sunfish
Sunfishes.
for Miss Rayburn.
I know.
I like seeing our people.
We can
Return.
we can ping. We can find out what the behind the scenes
Yes.
feeling was.
Oh yes, we've got to
on
get the
set.
scoop
We
on
can get
that.
the scoop. We'll scoop it out.
We'll scoop it out,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
Stay tuned for the scooping.
Uh-huh.
Okay, this is taking a turn. All right.
Everyone needs ice cream in hot
Everyone
Miami
does.
or
In the
Florida
Keys.
Keys weather. Yeah,
That's right.
Right.
In the tropics.
There is a lot of scooping.
There's a lot of scooping in one way or another.
Okay, predictions. I'm like,
And now, your
Like-
AfterBuzz TV.
That went on. That went on and on. Okay, God, the predictions get me every time. They are just so hard. I mean, they could just go any which way. I wish I had a solid thought on Ozzy. I'm just like so up in the air for him. I know that I'm excited to see what the heck he's doing, what web he's spinning. He's got a lot going on. He's got this strange girl. He's stealing cars. He's getting abducted. I mean, it's a lot going on. So, it's not really a prediction, but I just think that we're gonna figure out a lot more in 4 and 5, and I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
I agree. I'm also quite confused as to why we've not seen any of Danny's son and the baby mama. Like, I don't, why have we...
Yeah, like, where'd they go?
They were significant enough in season 2 where we're already now at the end of episode 3 of season 3, and we've not seen any of that. So I think that's a little, I mean, obviously there's a lot going on. So anyway, I thought that's weird. My prediction though, did Roy and Sally have an affair a long time ago?
Oh, you're so good on these, Allison. That is totally valid.
Because it just, some of the things that she says, she said something interesting at the end to him, like, to the effect of, I didn't quote it, but to the effect of, like, you know, you wanted everything that he had, and
Yes.
blah, 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 and
Yes.
the this and that, you know.
And then Gilbert said, you guys wouldn't have been anything but, I forget, I don't know, beggars.
But it
or
was
something.
significant, and it was
Yes.
one of those things where it, to me, felt like it was like an implied, there's more relationship that was here.
Totally.
Anyway, I guess we'll find out.
Ugh.
I mean, I think that there was
Gilbert,
more affairs
Ozzy.
that have been let on at this point.
I like that one. I think maybe
Let's see.
the mystery girl's mother could have been like a mistress, maybe,
Of
Papa Rayburn.
Robert.
Robert Rayburn. There we have it.
How do we forget that?
Right.
It's all right.
God.
It's late.
It
Whatever.
came to us.
Yeah.
I think that sounds great.
Okay,
Allison.
great. And then obviously everyone else is just screwed.
And there you have
John
it.
screwed.
End of Bloodline.
Eric,
Season 2
Eric
and 3.
O'Bannon, good lord. I'm just really hoping for a save. I'm really hoping that just something, I don't know what it is.
Well,
but I'd love something, because it's just it'd be too predictable to just be like, and Eric is in jail for the rest of his life, right?
And he's got the wild story, and he's really got a lot of valid facts on John Rayburn, the Rayburn family, Danny, all these things that nobody else knows, and his verbalization of that to
Franco
could really spawn this whole like investigation into John and the whole family, and it could really like just pop the lid off of that.
I agree. Yeah. I agree.
All right, so that was my prediction. All right, everyone.
I'm like, and now I can exhale.
That's right. We've let it out. That has been the recap for episodes 2 and 3 of season 3 Bloodline. Oh.
That was festive.
I like that.
What was that?
That was a complete
like-
accident.
Oh, I thought it was like, we're done.
Yeah, I thought it was like the
party music.
the finale music
Like
or
the-
something.
the
I mean, I could end the show like that every week if you want.
Yeah.
I kind of like it.
Like the send them off, like
Yeah,
party
send them
music.
off with some techno or something.
Oh,
I hear
that
it
was
now.
so good. Okay, that was
Forgive
really
us.
exciting.
Forgive us. Okay.
We are hoping you will join us again next week for the recap of seasons 4. Well, I hope there was season 4.
There's not.
Episodes 4 and 5
So
of
sad.
this fantastic season 3 of Bloodline. I have been your host, Blake V. You can find me on all the social medias at Blake V Media, and of course on my blog at blakevcom.
I'm Alison Dean. You can find me at the Alison Dean 1L. And thanks for everyone that's chatting on the YouTubes, because I like seeing
On the social medias.
Yeah, on the social medias. Yeah, we love all that stuff.
We love all of that.
Yeah,
so
we do.
We love this show, and we're so excited to be here at the after show. So we love all of your interactions, and please join in the conversation. Anything we discuss, let us know what we missed, what we need to know, what you think. All of our questions and conversations apply to you.
Yes.
So we will see you guys back here next week for 2 more episodes of Bloodline.
Monday
See you guys
fun day.
later.
Monday fun day. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.